holy brothers and sisters!
It is the 17th of SIVAN, and in the Kitzur Likutei Moharan, today's lesson will be called Rebounding Relationships. Teaching number 183. The tzaddikim, the righteous ones of the generation, sit in the form of a circle, and they are like a court of law with God as their head of their court. From these tzaddikim, judgment comes out to each and every person, either to the side of innocence or to the side of guilt. Similarly, these tzaddikim dispense livelihood to each and every person as it is appropriate for him. The most important thing is that there should be such great love among these tzaddikim that it is as if they actually see each other, even though they are not physically together. We should know that when people are like-minded, they are really bonded together and connected deeply in a spirituality, even if they're physically distant. Real love bridges separation. Time and space are definitions of physicality, and when we are able to transcend these limitations, we tap into the deepest wells of infinity and create everlasting unities and products. Teaching number 184. When a person speaks with his friend about the fear of God, even if his friend does not receive anything from him, nevertheless, the person himself receives spiritual inspiration from his friend. The explanation of this is that when the words leave a person's mouth directed at his friend, the light of these words is reflected back to him. If he were to speak these words to himself, it would be very well that they would not inspire him in the least. But since he spoke these words to someone else, even though his friend was not inspired by them, nonetheless, he himself is inspired by them because the words are bounced back to him in the aspect of impacting, as when one strikes or throws something against the wall, and then that thing returns to him. This, my friends, is a huge advantage of having friends and being able to speak with them in special relationships. When we talk with those that we care about, many of the ideas and concepts that come out of our mouths not only are helpful for those we are telling them to, but specifically helpful for ourselves as well. Others help us bring out the best within ourselves. Teaching number 185. The ultimate completeness is fear and awe of God. Now, there are two kinds of fear. There are people who fear God because of his greatness and exaltedness, and because he is the master and controller of everything. By means of this type of fear, the holy name of the Holy One, blessed be he, is made complete. There is also a type of fear lower than this. This is when a person comes to fear and awe of God by way of lower fears. For instance, because he is afraid of something dangerous like an animal or an authority or some other thing which he fears that is going to harm him, and as a result he remembers God and comes to fear him. Through the second type of fear, influx of bounty is drawn into the world. And we should note that even this type of fear, here one is recognizing that whatever animal or thing is coming to harm him, he recognizes it as merely an agent of God, and to be saved, therefore, he prays directly to God, who is the source. It is necessary, however, to create a vessel in which to receive this bounty, and this vessel is formed by the yearning and the desire that a person has to travel to true tzaddikim, the righteous ones. Through this yearning, an impression of the vessel is formed, and subsequently when the person actually comes to the tzaddik, then the vessel itself is made. Furthermore, the person must exert himself when he first begins to draw close to God, and the more barriers he breaks, the larger a vessel he creates. For example, when he faces barriers and opposition from his father, his father-in-law, his wife, or his mother-in-law, and others like them, he must struggle and toil and fortify himself tremendously in order to overcome them. He thereby creates a vessel in which he can receive holiness and purity later on. The greater his struggles and barrier, the greater the vessel that is formed for receiving holiness and purity, and for drawing closer to God when he finally succeeds in breaking those barriers. It is in this way that a person merits to attain fear and to elicit all good influx into the world, and he merits to complete God's holy name, because the ultimate completeness is achieving through fear. There is nothing other than God in this world to fear. For when you fear the one, you fear no one. Then, when we understand that anything that is seemingly dangerous is nothing other than God, we can also come to fear Hashem simply because of how great he actually is. As always, thank you so much for learning together. If you enjoyed this lesson, please remember to like, comment, share, and borrow. And please God, we'll learn again tomorrow.